Folks, is your money safe in the bank? Honestly, I don't know anymore. I have my own opinions and methods and strategies that I'm using to diversify and secure and protect my wealth. But I want to share with you a very shocking story that ties closely into a lot of the recent updates that I have been bringing to you guys about PNC Bank. So get this. A customer for Bank of America deposited a check in the ATM. The check was for a rather sizable amount of $33,000. Now, $33,000 could be what some people make in a year, what some people make in 6 months. But also, I want to put out that $33,000 could be what some people make in a month, or what they make in a week, or even in a day. But that's besides the point. The simple fact of the matter is that they deposited this check into the bank's ATM. And here's what happened. The check disappeared. They never got their deposit, and their money was ultimately lost. Did the bank steal it? Did the bank try to hide their money? Was their money not safe in the bank? Well, ironically, the bank was actually closing, which is what I was telling you guys about PNC Bank. And a few other banks, for that matter, as well, are closing, creating these banking deserts, by the way. But here, check this video out. I want you guys to take a look at this. Check this out.
Well, you may have noticed it lately. Many banks closing branches as more customers bank online and fewer go into the bank in person. But for one East Bay man, it caused a mild panic, actually. The Bank of America shut down his branch just hours after he made a huge deposit, and his money disappeared. So you can imagine how worried he was. So he came to 7 on Your Side's Michael Finney, as so many people do, to find out what to do, Michael.
Yeah, it's hard to believe this story happened at a major bank.
Yeah,
this viewer deposited $33,000 through a teller at a Bank of America in Oakland, and hours later, the branch shut down. His deposit never got posted, and everybody kept telling him, sorry, there's nothing we can do.
And I said, you're telling me that Bank of America lost $33,000 of my money, and you're telling me right here to my face, there's nothing you can do. That's right, sir.
It was like a bad dream, except it was real.
I started to think I may not see the money ever.
Brian Leonard deposited $33,000 into his account at Bank of America. Then it disappeared.
Nobody said, we'll find out where the money is, we'll make good on it, we'll take care of it. There was none of that.
It all began here in Brian's kitchen.
My wife and I are in the midst of a big kitchen remodel.
Brian had to pay the contractor and needed to transfer $33,000 from his account at Wells Fargo to his account at B of A. He brought a cashier's check straight to the teller at B of A so it would clear right away.
And she said it would post that afternoon or next morning at the latest.
However, when he checked his account the next day, the money was not there. He called B of A, and it was not good news.
The woman said that there was no record of the transaction, so as far as she was concerned, no transaction happened.
Brian drove back to the bank and got another surprise. B of A had shut down that branch just hours after he had made his big deposit.
And when I realized the branch that was closed and the teller that took my $33,000 cashier's check is nowhere to be found, my heart sank into my stomach. I feel like I just saw a boat leaving dock, and my money is on the boat.
Brian went to another branch, only to find the doors locked there, too.
So that's when I started to get very nervous. It's just like, wait a second, the branches are closing. The people that I've had contact with, gone.
He went to a third branch. It was open, and the manager didn't help.
He said there's no record of the transaction, so there was nothing he could do.
Brian showed him the cashier's check and deposit receipt, proof of the missing money.
And I said, well, you're the manager. Can you escalate the issue? He says, no. There's nothing I can do.
Brian says everyone at B of A kept telling him that.
And there was nothing he could do. There was nothing that she could do. So there's nothing I can do. So there was nothing he could do. They kept repeating, there's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can do about that. It was kind of Kafka-esque.
But there was something Brian could do. He contacted the bank's CEO, the federal government, and 7 on Your Side.
That ball started moving very quickly.
B of A tells us the problem arose because the cashier's check was made out to Bank of America, not Brian, and it delayed the process. B of A didn't say why no one helped Brian track down his money until now.
Bank of America contacted me and they said, we are going to give you $33,000 immediately. 7 on Your Side You were on it from the get-go. And so thank you.
You're welcome. That's what we do here. Now, look, this story is a great reminder. Keep your receipts. Bank of America did not comment on whether the shutdown of that branch may have caused a problem with the deposit, but says it's a temporary closure. This is one of hundreds of bank branches to close nationwide over the past year, and we're starting to hear more and more problems related to these shutdowns. And what concerns me, too, is you have receipts and they mean nothing?
Yeah.
Why have a receipt?
Right. As you said at the top, I've never heard of this at a major bank.
Yeah. Amazing.
Well, as it turns out, there was something they could do. And you got them to do it. Thank you, Michael, very much.
So as you can see here, this customer deposited a check into the bank, but the bank essentially closed down, and then the check just never got processed. Now, the beauty of it is it was a check. It was a check, because then the check could be canceled. You could request a new check and possibly have this problem solved relatively easily. Yes, it would be a disruption, and hopefully it wasn't the only money you had and you were counting on and you didn't need it that bad, which is why we always want to make sure we have that diversity and we have a safety and savings net. This is huge. This is very important. But additionally, check this out, folks. If it were cash, guess what? That cash would have been lost for good. Cash would have never been seen again. Could you imagine? Now granted, I don't think anybody in their right mind would ever try to deposit $33,000 in cash to an ATM. And honestly, in my opinion, why deposit cash at all? Hang on to that. Do not put it in the bank. Do not let them know you have it. Plain and simple. At least not until they try to take it away from you and switch over to this digital dollar and this central bank digital currency. But at the end of the day, this was a huge problem that the bank created due to some oversight, or maybe intentional, I don't know. But it could have been even worse if it was cash. So, does this mean Bank of America isn't safe? Well, I can't say that just from this particular scenario in this instance, but I can say that over the past, Bank of America has provided us with a variety of reasons to believe that, I don't know, you guys be the judge, comment down below. But if I were to say one bank wasn't safe, it'd probably be Wells Fargo, because Wells Fargo literally just continuously gets headlines in the news for illegal banking practices and literally ripping people off, ruining their lives and stealing their money. Like this one here. Check this one out.
Well, more information is flowing regarding the Wells Fargo $3.7 billion settlement. A consumer watchdog group found the banking giant used illegal practices in banking and home and car loans. Well, Fox 5 team's Dana Fowle is breaking down who is eligible and when. And this is getting all of our attention.
Oh, everybody's been talking about it this morning. So according to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, 1 in 3 Americans is a Wells Fargo customer. That's why everybody's talking about it this morning. The agency, in a recent blog post, said that more than 16 million accounts at Wells Fargo were subject to illegal practices, misapplied payments, wrongful foreclosures, and incorrect fees and interest charges. Some customers have already started to see their payments from Wells Fargo, but it's an ongoing effort. If this is the first time you're hearing of this, let's break things down a little bit. We'll talk about auto, bank, and mortgage loans, starting with mortgage loan information. Some borrowers were unfairly turned down when they requested modifications to their loans so they could avoid foreclosure, and charged fees they shouldn't have been charged, and the bank wrongly reported some of these customers as deceased. They overstated attorney fees and brought wrongful foreclosure actions. In auto loans, borrowers with gap insurance may not have been refunded that money when the loan terminated early. Some auto loan payments were not applied correctly to balances, which meant higher interest charges and wrongful possessions. Auto repos were mismanaged. And here are some highlights for bank account holders. Customers were charged overdraft fees on those debit cards, even if they had the money in their account to cover it. Wells Fargo advertised no fees in some circumstances, but did in fact charge. And finally, some customers had their accounts unfairly frozen for weeks on end. So that's a look at who's impacted. Sounds like a lot of people. On our website, I'm going to have all of this information you're going to need to make sure that Wells Fargo is on top of your case too.
I mean, $3.7 billion, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, they're trying to make a point. I mean, $2 billion, $2 billion going to customers who were harmed, $1.7 billion that goes into a victims relief fund. Wells Fargo has been in trouble before.
A couple times, right?
They have had their share of troubles, and I hope they get it straight.
Yeah, me too, you know,
Yeah.
and hopefully this is maybe a deterrent in the future. I don't know.
I mean, $3.7 billion sounds like a deterrent.
Absolutely.
But we'll see.
All right, Dana, thanks so much for filling us in.
I'm like,
you're doing a good job.
Yeah.
She's doing a good job.
Let the money speak for itself, I guess. Let the government group here speak for probably the frustration a lot of people feel.
Yeah, all of those customers.
Right.
Wow. All right, Dana, thank you.
So in this particular story, Wells Fargo literally just crushed people by repossessing their cars, foreclosing on their homes, charging them fees, like all sorts of stuff for years. Like, can you imagine having your home repossessed because of a Wells Fargo illegal banking glitch or bug or unethical business and banking practices, and then 12 years later they say, we're sorry, we did you wrong, here's a few $1,000s. Dude, your house is gone, your credit was destroyed, you could potentially have been homeless and thrown out on the street. You know, these could have major impacts on your life, your livelihood, your job, your family, your emotional state, your well-being, your mental health, your relationships, your marriage, like all because Wells Fargo literally has admitted to illegal banking activity. Are the banks safe? Are credit unions safer? Well, that is to be determined, because go check out Squirrel Tribe. She posted a video the other day about a particular situation that occurred with a credit union and my mom actually, and some funds that were missing. I'll let you guys be the judge. Check it out, come back, comment down below, let me know what you think. But even still, moving forward, the question still remains: what do you do? Where do you go? How do you protect your money? How do you protect your wealth? And even more so, like a better question would be, do you have any money or do you have any wealth to protect? Because if you don't, then that's an even bigger problem.